Hey friends, welcome back to Queer Gravel. Now, I know it has been a hot minute since I have posted any videos on this channel, but 2025 is the year that I come back to YouTube in full force, and I am so excited about it. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of what's happened over this past year, where I've been, and what you can expect from this channel in the future. And all of these things kind of revolve around one major change I made in 2024, and that is bike commuting. Now, I've commuted by bike every now and again since getting really into bikes back in 2020, and I even attempted a few bike commutes with some old department store bikes long before that, but that wasn't pretty. Even though I really wanted to commute by bike, I never seemed to have the know-how or the equipment or the support or the fitness to make it happen. But back in 2020, when I got into riding gravel, all of that started to change. Suddenly, the idea of commuting and using my bike as a tool to get from A to B became a lot more accessible. This past year, though, in 2024, I made the commitment to drive as little as possible and ride my bike as many places as I possibly could. And I was pretty successful in that, so much so that by March, I was able to just get rid of my truck altogether. Now, I knew this was going to be a pretty drastic lifestyle adjustment, and I thought that it would be a good move for me and for the family, but what I wasn't prepared for was how drastically bike commuting improved my life. Now, it feels almost impossible to count all of the ways that just taking my bike instead of a car have improved my life. So for the sake of YouTube, I'm gonna break it down to 5. So here are the top 5 ways that bike commuting has improved my life. The first one is probably the most obvious. It has improved my life physically. I am in better shape, I feel great. Movement has just become a regular part of my life. And that has really kind of set the tone for everything else. My body feels strong and capable. And quite frankly, I am in the best shape of my life. I got into cycling back in 2020 after some pretty scary health news from my doctor. Cardio and I were never really friends, and my doctor made it very clear that we needed to get to know each other, and quite well, very fast. That road was pretty hard in the beginning because it felt like biking was this thing outside of my life that I had to find a way to work in. But since switching to using my bike as the tool to get me places, I don't have to worry about workouts because I'm always moving. I am always getting cardio. And yes, sometimes more than others when I ride an e-bike versus an acoustic bike, but generally my movement has increased, and because of that, my overall health has improved across the board. And when your body is healthy, that obviously makes all sorts of room for everything else to kind of fall into place. Which leads to the next piece. Bike commuting has had a massive impact on my mental and emotional health. I am so much happier riding my bike than when I was driving a car. Back when I was driving most of my places, even though I was still riding my bike and enjoying it, I thought that I was doing pretty well. Using my bike as a workout tool and as a fun adventure machine was so incredibly helpful for my mental and emotional health. I didn't realize, though, how much driving was actually a detriment to my mental and emotional health. Sitting in traffic, commuting to and from throughout the city, it really just sort of numbed things for me. And I didn't realize how negatively that was affecting my mental and emotional health until I wasn't doing it. When I left my truck at the dealership and I rode away on my bike, I could feel it in the moment. Suddenly, I was more alive. I'm more alive on a bike than I am in a car. And that's not to say cars are all bad. They can be really helpful tools as well. But I realized for me, I was using this tool way too much. And you know what they say? The best craftsmen use the right tool for the job. And turns out a car is not the best tool for most of these jobs. Commuting by bike allowed me to feel more connected to myself, to my community, to the environment, to nature, and I was just happier. I've really been so blown away by how much better I feel mentally and emotionally riding my bike instead of taking a car. Now, the third way that bike commuting has improved my life was actually the most surprising to me. And if I'm honest, it was the main driver in me taking up this lifestyle to begin with, and that is financially. Now, when you assume that a car is the way you have to operate and you have to own one in order to do your life, you just sort of absorb the cost of that without really paying much attention to it. At least that's how I operated. I was like, well, I have to have it, so who cares? But once I started riding my bike more and more and more, it became clear that I might not need to have this vehicle. And so then I started crunching the numbers. Now, I had a car payment at the time that was well under the national average, but including that and gas, maintenance, insurance, tolls, parking, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all of the costs that are associated with owning and operating a vehicle, when I added all of those up, it came to a whopping $12,000 a year. That's a lot of money. Now, those numbers are obviously going to be different depending on what kind of vehicle you own, but I encourage you to crunch the numbers and see how much you could save just by ditching the car and using your bike. Seeing that big of a number really motivated my wife and I to start making the lifestyle adjustments we needed in order to make this car-free, car-light situation happen. Of course, because we have kids, we wouldn't have been able to do this without the cargo bikes that we have. But even counting the cost of all of those bikes, we're still ahead for 2024 because I ditched the truck. And since we don't have to get a new bike every single year, those savings are just going to compound over time. Having this extra money is allowing us to invest in things that we're actually excited about instead of throwing it away on something we felt like we just had to have. But of course, money isn't everything. And so while it was a main driver in kind of exploring this, it wouldn't have been enough to really sustain the overall change. Now, these last couple improvements in my life are a little bit harder to quantify, but to me, they're actually much more meaningful. So the fourth way that bike commuting has improved my life is relationally. I know that might sound kind of silly, but the reality is being able to ride my bike around town has actually helped me feel more connected to the people around me. I've been able to find and maintain really meaningful relationships in all different cycling disciplines across the city. Cycling as commuting has been a really awesome way that my wife and I have been able to connect and actually get to spend more and more meaningful time together. And it's really just been so incredibly sweet. Since getting the cargo bikes and getting more comfortable with them, we've been able to do so much helping out with Austin Bicycle Meals and that incredible community. And even beyond that, just feeling more connected to the people that I pass on a daily basis. I feel like any one of these people could be a friend, and we just don't know it yet. I know this sounds really cheesy, but in a country and a culture where we have a loneliness epidemic, riding my bike as transportation has helped me to feel less lonely. It's been such a massive improvement in my life. And like I say, it's harder to quantify and therefore a little bit harder to talk about, but it's really been one of the main things that makes me realize that I don't want another car. I don't want to go back to that lifestyle. I want to continue to shape my life so that I can stay this connected. Now, the fifth improvement in my life is maybe even more woo-woo, and I might lose some of y'all here, and you know what? That's okay. You can skip ahead to the next section. But I really wanted to talk about it because it really is the reason why I feel like I'm going to continue doing this for a very long time, as long as my body and circumstances allow. And that is because bike commuting has improved my life so much spiritually. Spirituality has been a really big part of my life for just about as long as I can remember. It's taken a lot of different shapes, and I've been interested in a lot of different traditions throughout my life. But cycling, and maybe even more specifically bike commuting, have really allowed me to tap into something that I've been searching for such a long time. And I do think it's kind of an amalgamation of all the things that we've already talked about the physical health, the mental and emotional health, the relational health. I feel more connected to something bigger than me when I ride. Maybe you might want to call that nature or the universe or God or what have you. Whatever name you want to put towards it, I feel more connected to it when I ride my bike. Now, it might have to do with the sensory experience, being able to see and hear and feel and smell the world as you're moving through it. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's the left and the right sides of my brain working in parallel and my legs are moving and feeling balanced. I don't really know. But what I do know is that I feel more connected spiritually. And because of that, I am a better person. Bike commuting has actually allowed me to show up and be a better member of my community. It's allowed me to be a better parent and a better partner. And while it can feel hard to pinpoint exactly how that's happening or why that's happening, I just know that it's happening. And to me, that feels like the most important thing of all. As I look at all of these reasons and all of these improvements, it's clear to me that this is a thing that I want to continue doing for as long as humanly possible. And all of this brings me to what you can expect from this channel in the coming year. Like I said earlier, I'd always had an interest in bike commuting, but I didn't really have the know-how or the support or the fitness or any of the things I really needed to make it a real lifestyle adjustment. So that's why I want to focus this channel on giving the know-how and the support and the advice necessary to help as many of you as humanly possible do more and more of your life by bike. Now, you might not end up ditching the car, but any trip that you take by bike is gonna be better than a trip you take via the car. And I wanna help you do more of that. I wanna help you feel confident and supported to make decisions that will improve your life the way bike commuting has improved mine. So I plan on doing this a few different ways. There's gonna be kind of talking head videos like this one where I'm sharing educational things. So ways to get started and get supported, get connected in your local cycling scene, and hopefully overcome some of those barriers that you've been worried about, whether you're making the transition from a recreational cyclist to a commuter, or if you're completely brand new to cycling and you wanna get started driving to work or the grocery store, what have you. I want this channel and the community that I build around it to be a place where you can go to get the information you need to feel good about taking this next step. And of course, part of that also means I'm gonna be doing some gear reviews. Cycling has so much gear and it can feel so overwhelming to know what's good and what's not, what works and what doesn't. And let's face it, it's really freaking expensive and making a wrong decision could cost you a lot of money. So I want to do gear reviews to help you make the best decisions possible. With my gear reviews, they will be things that I have ridden with extensively because I want you to get the best, most unbiased information possible. And of course, a big part of getting into any kind of cycling is being inspired. I want to show you what a good time it is, not just bike commuting, but riding your bike in general. So I will still have a few gravel adventures sprinkled throughout the year here and there, because let's face it, gravel is my first love and I don't see that changing anytime soon, but I'll also be taking you on adventures around my city and other cities that I visit. And of course, with all of these super fun adventures I'm going on, there are gonna be a few where you can connect with me in different cities, and I'll be sure to put all of that information on my website and on my Instagram so you can connect there and stay in touch. So there you have it, folks. That's kind of what I've been up to and how things have been changing for me and how I want to go into 2025 and what you can expect from this channel going forward. I have to say I am incredibly excited to be able to do this kind of work and to be able to build this kind of community here on this platform. Thank you so much for watching and following along. And until next time, what's going to be my phrase? Until next time, you know what? I need help with a sign-off phrase. You know, Path Less Pedaled has keep the supple side down. Bikepacking.com has pedal further. Help me with mine. Drop something in the comments and let me know what you think my sign off phrase should be so that I don't sound real dumb being like, bye. Um, yeah, thanks. Bye. Crap, it's so clear that I haven't done YouTube in a really long time. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you want me to say in the sign off. I also have a Patreon if you want to support this channel, and you can follow me on Instagram. All the links are down below. I'd love to connect with y'all, and bye for real this time.